Welcome to the WinEH podcast. This show is focused on empowering ranchers. Whether you're a seasoned rancher or just getting started, we'll guide you on how to use the infinite banking concept as an alternative way to finance your operations. It's a better way to think about money. Join us as we discuss planning for the future, attracting the next generation, and the art of keeping more money within the family. Here's your hosts, Winnie and Lacy.
Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of our podcast. You're in for a treat today. We have a special guest with us. So it's just me today. Lacy, Winnie is enjoying and soaking up the Florida sun this week. And so I am joined today by a friend, a fellow hockey parent, and a business owner. So we are joined by Daniel Doerksen of Gemstone Cattle. So just to give you guys a little bit of rundown who he is, he's a fourth generation farmer helping run the family farm. Daniel, you're 4 generations in, alongside your dad, your uncle, your 2 brothers, and a little bit of accolades, I guess, about you guys. So you, Lauren, and Barry, you were named Canada's Outstanding Young Farmer for 2024. So kudos to you for that. You hosted Premier Daniel Smith. And then in 2023, you guys were included in Avenues Magazine Top 40 Under 40 for the Calgary area. So that's a lot. It's a lot. Like, congrats to you guys. You're obviously making an impact on the agriculture industry. And that's kind of why I invited you to be on, because what Winnie and I do, we are trying to step in a financial aspect of the ag industry and saying like, hey, how can we make it easier for next generations to come in and take it over? How can we help farmers with the finance side of their operations and ranchers as well? That's why I wanted to have you on here, because you're many generations into your operation. Yeah, I just want to have a conversation about like sustainability in the ag industry, things that are changing and advancing in ag, and how like families have to adapt to that too, and attracting that next generation to the farm. So thank you for being here. I'm excited for our conversation.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I look forward to it.
Can you share with our listeners like a little bit from your own perspective, like who you are and what you and your family, what you're doing?
So my wife Kim and I farm along with my parents, my aunt and uncle, and my 2 brothers and their spouses. And so the 5 of us own and operate Gemstone Grass-Fed Beef and Gemstone Cattle Company. So we're a family, 4th generation operation. My kids are getting pretty actively involved, and my nieces and nephews are pretty young yet, but they do help out where they can. So we have always been in the cattle industry. We're a fairly diversified operation. We're an irrigation country too, which we think gives us a bit of an advantage for the direction we've headed. So we started in about 2014. I bought a purebred Red Angus herd and we started a production sale. And that kind of, when we started that, we knew we had to be different. So we kind of started raising bulls that were forage developed. They were never pushed. And we just wanted the cows to work for us. We don't pamper them, and raise bulls in that same setting. So the bulls had to get fat on forage. And that took a little while to get popular, but people are starting to understand what we're doing, and they really like the product. Fast forward now to 2018, we've always joked that we should go into direct marketing. Every family dinner we got together was, we should really start doing this. And in 2018, we were approached by a small abattoir that said, there's an opportunity for grass finished beef. And we tried one probably a year or 2 prior, and it was awful. We said we'd never do that again. We were going to stick to grain-fed beef. But a friend of ours says, no, let's try it a little differently. We raised it on tame pasture, got it good and fat, and it was unbelievable. So we knew there was something here. So that's kind of what got us started. And originally it was just my dad, my uncle, and I. And so my middle brother, Lauren, ended up coming home. And we were always told we had to bring something to the operation. So we couldn't just come home and be employees. So when Lauren came home, we were kind of looking for another avenue to make more room for more families, and that's kind of where we headed. So,
So if anybody's listened to our podcast, you know that what we promote is infinite banking, and In order to do that, it's dividend paying whole life insurance policies. So I say that to say this. A fellow that we work closely with at one of the life insurance companies came from a farm family. He didn't take over the farm, but his brother did. And so his brother's kids, if they want to come back to the farm, they have to bring something of value, a trade, some sort of asset that adds to the value and the operating of the farm. So that's really cool. So you have like the forage only diet. What does that look like in the winter?
Like I said, we're very fortunate to have irrigation, so we can put up high value crops that we use to feed through the winter. So we've really started to move towards polycrops, like multi-species blends. When we originally started, we were silaging barley crops, taking it before the head was in soft dough, and trying to really keep that forage only feed, keep the starch out of it. And recently now with regenerative agriculture and learning more about polycrops and multi-species blends, we've moved to a lot of that. So we can take a crop off for winter feed, and then we have that crop will regrow. So we have fall grazing, and that works. It's been working really good for us, really maximizes the amount of growing days we have. And we've also just grazed some of those crops. We put them in for grazing, and it's been really interesting. We have had to be careful. Certain varieties of plants we don't like throwing because it can change the flavor of the meat, but we sometimes say, it's similar to a craft brewery. The beef can taste like what you feed it. So we can, through the course of the year, the flavor of the beef may change a little bit, but we really enjoy the flavor of the grass-fed beef.
I can relate to that on a totally different scale. So I grew up in Texas, in East Texas, the swamp, the piney woods, and the wild pigs are out of control. So we used to, as kids, trap these wild pigs with my grandpa, and you didn't want to eat them right away because they would taste like wood because they're eating the roots, right? So we would feed them out, and I don't know what we fed them. I was so small, but I can understand how, throughout the year, the change of the beef or the taste of the beef would change for sure. Yeah, very interesting. And I find too, like society as a whole is leaning more towards what you guys are doing in your operation for a lot of different reasons, health being one. I know that, and as well, I had a scare with my health a couple of years ago, and I eat grass-fed beef that we butcher our own, but it's grass-fed. So there's more and more people are leaning toward that. And I think like what you guys are doing is exactly what the market is wanting. And then rotational grazing, that's something that I just got asked about that yesterday from a client. So rotational grazing, you guys implement that as well, right?
Yeah, we do. So we have lots of even under our pivots, we kind of cross fence everything using polywire or temporary fence. And we only really want the cattle to graze the plant once before it gets a chance to regrow again. So on our grass finishing cattle, we'll move our cattle every single day, giving them the new space, and then moving the back fence up every week usually. We just have to set it up so they can still always have access to water. But we've really seen an increase in productivity in both the cattle and the grasslands when we're not grazing it and continually nailing it. Every time it tries to regrow, we're hitting it. We're graze it quick, get off, let it regrow, and hit it again. And so we can usually graze our tame pastures three times a summer, and then get some fall grazing after once it's done growing, once it's gone dormant. So that's been definitely a big learning curve for us, but it's been definitely helped with productivity for sure.
Right. And it's something that's talked about. It's gained so much traction in the last few years that people are catching on to that. Yeah. So that's cool. So that's kind of a rundown of like how your family operation and what you guys are behind. And like, I know that on here, your promise to you as the customer, it's good for your animals. It's a low stress environment. It's forage only diet, raised without antibiotics. You do intervene if you have to with medication, rotational grazing, species diversity. You talked about that, and good for the customers too. So then you guys get into the science of the nutrients of the grass-fed beef. And so that's really cool. But like you did touch on this a little bit about how Gemstone evolved into the family-run business over the years, and Lauren came back. Your brother Barry also came back, right?
Yeah, so he came back about 3 years ago, and that's really when our business took off. It was kind of fledgling a little bit, and in 2020, when COVID hit, right after COVID, our business kind of exploded. I always say COVID was the worst thing to happen to humanity, but it's the best thing that happened to our business because
Right.
everybody all of a sudden wants to know where their food came from. And so our business really took off to the point where we needed more help. And it had always kind of been a dream, I guess, of ours to all work together. So here was kind of an opportunity for my youngest brother to come home. Him and his wife made that decision. And it's been great. Each of us have our own kind of segment of the business that we focus on. And I think that's kind of what makes a family business successful if you're not tripping over each other and everybody trying to make decisions on the same thing. So,
Right. Yeah, I think that's so cool. So tell us a little bit about the butcher shop and your space in the Calgary Farmers Market, which I
yeah, so
haven't
we
got
had
to yet, but I'm going to.
okay, yeah, we'll have to take you for a burger there. Yeah, so we had an opportunity to get into the Calgary Farmers Market. That was a big step for us because now we had our own storefront. Before we were pretty much just online sales and wholesale. So this gave us an opportunity to have a fresh product in a store where people could buy, and that has been huge for us as well. We're very fortunate. We found a great business partner in Andy Sedlak. He came to us from Vancouver. He brought his team of butchers with us, and we didn't know what we didn't know. And
Right.
he's been a huge asset to our company as far as he knew that business, and we had no idea about running a butcher shop at all. So that's been huge. He has all kinds of recipes and knows how to cut beef and trains butchers, and that's just been awesome.
Yeah,
And we
his
also
video.
have oh, go ahead.
Well, I watch his videos on Instagram because I don't know, he's just fun to watch. So definitely
Yeah.
putting out good content, and that's what people are wanting. They want to know where their food's coming from.
Yeah. Well, and it's great because we also have a food kiosk in there. So we have a little burger joint in the food court at the market. So people can go try the meat, and then they can head over to the butcher shop, which is just down the hall, and they can buy fresh meat right there. So
Okay.
that's been
I
great.
know that Reed's
You'll have to
planning
check it
on.
out. We just got burgers and fries. We just got their tallow fries made with tallow, beef tallow. So
Oh, yeah. I have. Okay. Yeah. I know Reed's planning on when we do get up there, that's where he's getting a tomahawk steak, apparently. So it's on our bucket list to get up there. So you talk about the tallow. So this is a huge, like, everybody's talking about tallow. It's all over my Facebook feed. Every time you turn the computer on, there's tallow ads. And everybody who got stocking stuffers from me this past Christmas got tallow that your wife Kim produced. And so, yeah, right from the website, it just went on there. I actually, WinEH's Christmas present for me was a beef box from Gemstone Beef, and Barry had it sent out and the next day. And then the tallow, everybody got that. Even Reed's using it. He might not want me to say that, but he even uses it. So can you share a little bit about how, like, you're definitely following the trends and like demands of what customers are wanting? And the tallow is one of those things.
neat market for us. We didn't really know much about it. We actually had people starting to buy tallow from us to make the tallow balm, I guess. And so Barry had kind of looked into how to make it, and him and his wife made a few batches, and it was pretty neat stuff. And I'll join Reed. I use it myself. I've never been one to use hand lotion much, but this is different.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff. And so Kim kind of ended up taking that part of the business over. And yeah, she makes tallow 3 days a week right now. That's really taken off. It's funny. I have a friend of mine. He's probably the roughest, toughest cowboy you meet, and he puts it in his beard. So
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah, it's got all kinds of uses, from it's a full body cream to beard oil if you want to use it for that. So, and there's other products we're starting to make. Lip chap. Kim's just started making lip chap as well. Going to try and get into making some deodorant and stuff like that. So just trying to maximize the use of the carcass.
That was where my question was going next. It's my understanding you guys try to do what you can to use most of the carcass. And so part of that is organ capsules. I buy liver capsules through Higher Healths, and I think that they use gemstone organs. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's one of those things, it's another market that evolved for us. I know when we first started, we had boxes and boxes of organs sitting in the cooler, wondering what we were going to do with all these things. All of a sudden, an opportunity came up where we had a company wanting to buy them. to grind, and they dehydrate them and grind them up and make capsules. So we have liver, kidney, heart, I believe, are the three that they make right now, and lung capsules as well. So we also use the lungs ourselves, and we call it our ancestral blend. So we mix a 10 and a 30% organ meat in with our hamburger. And it's actually one of our highest selling products is that ancestral blend. Because people want a way to get organ meat into their diet, into their kids' diet, but to go eat straight organs is not appealing. So if you can blend it off in a hamburger, kind of take that original, that organ taste out of it, it's a great way to get it into your family.
Right. Yeah. So that's higher health. And I meant to have my bottle sitting here with me, but I don't. It's on my kitchen counter. So we'll be sure to tag them, give them a shout out, because it's just a trend that is blowing up, that I find everybody's concerned about their health and want to do everything we can to avoid things like I went through, the dreaded C word. So a couple more questions here. So what's your vision for the future? Like how are your kids, how are you involving them right now? I know they're young. How are you involving them now? And like you guys have a whole herd of kids running around over there. So what do you guys envision for, because surely there's going to be at least one of them that want to do what you guys do. And how are you presenting it to them in a way that attracts them and doesn't make them look somewhere else and say, no, this is like too big of a challenge for a career?
Yeah. So I guess my kids are getting fairly involved in the operation as they're getting older. When they're not busy with sports, I always have these plans for them on the weekend, and then I look at our hockey schedule and realize, no, that's not happening this weekend at all. Yeah. So, but no, my oldest boy, Grady, he's starting to run equipment and cut hay and drive tractor and stuff like that, and can send him out to feed cows. So I think it's just giving them responsibilities where they feel needed in operation. I would never want to force them to come back. I would hope one or two or all of them want to come back at some point. And I think the direction we're headed with our operation, just trying to make opportunities, whether it's day-to-day chores or there's jobs in marketing or sales and stuff like that. So it basically just getting them involved, giving them chores and hoping they can find value.
Right. If a young person came to you and they were unsure whether they should take over their family farm, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think you have to have a good relationship with the previous generation. We've been very lucky, like my brothers and I, when I came back to the farm, my dad had kind of gotten into politics a bit. So I kind of worked with my uncle and had a bit of free reign to kind of do things, I guess, the way I wanted to, for better term, but still working as a group, making decisions by a committee. That can be good and bad in an operation. But I've seen where young people try and go back to the operation, and dad, they're just a hired man until they're 40, 50 years old. And that doesn't work. If you want to go back, I think you have to have that conversation with your parents or whoever the previous generation is. Maybe it's a grandparent who's been like, I want to come back, but I don't just want to be an employee. I want to have say in how the operation works. And I think if they can make that kind of arrangement, I think it's great. There is no better lifestyle, in my opinion, than agriculture. We've gone through some pretty tough times in previous years. I mean, there's jobs we all could have had where we could have made way more money and had a way better living, I guess, or done way more things. But you can't replace the lifestyle that agriculture has, the opportunities your kids have, take them to work with you every day. That's, I don't know. To me, that's worth more than money.
I agree. Reed and I are here on the ranch with his uncle, and we're surrounded all by family. To me, there's no better lifestyle to live. And that's one of the things that Winnie and I see in the clients that we work with. We're finding the next generation, it's easier for them to earn a living with, whatever education they've gotten. And, you have your house in town, and that is an easier way to make a living in a less stressful way most times. But we're like, wait, we're losing family farms every day in Canada. How can we make it appealing for that next generation to come back? And that's where we step in with the financial side of things. And if infinite banking resonates with families and they've read like this book sitting behind me, then we are finding it is helping the current generation see, oh, hey, maybe there's a way to make it easier for that next generation. I agree with you. No better lifestyle for sure. What values and lessons do you hope to pass down to the next generation, like to your kids and your nieces and nephews?
Just work ethic. If you want to make something in life, you have to go out and get it. Nobody's going to hand you anything. Again, we were very fortunate. We had a strong, stable operation to go home to, but we also had to go out and find opportunity where we could bring value to the operation. So just, I would hope my kids have good work ethic and instill those values and faith and what that can bring to an operation and how that can help you in all aspects of life as well. So.
Right. And I mean, and you guys wouldn't have had that strong, stable operation to come home to without the diligence and the hard work of like your dad and your uncle, right? And so that obviously has been passed down to you and your brothers, and it's just awesome to see. So Gemstone cattle, Gemstone Grass-Fed Beef, produced by the Dirksen family. If you're listening today, they're fourth generation farming, ranching family near Gem, Alberta. They are our friends and hockey families, and so we do spend quite a bit of time, I guess probably 6 months of the year we spend with you guys. Your goal is to produce high-quality grass-finished beef that's tender, nutrient-dense, well-marbled, and most importantly, flavorful. So you're expanding out into these other areas of demand, like the beef tallow, the organ capsules, and using most of that carcass that you can so that nothing goes to waste. So fully support you guys and behind you guys. To our listeners, you can find Gemstone on Instagram. Are you guys on Facebook as well?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So, and then Gemstone Grass-Fed Beef, I believe, is your website.
GemstoneGrassFedBeef.com.
Right. So GemstoneGrassFedBeef.com. To our listeners, head over to their website. You can read all about them. That's where you can order your beef box, your beef tallow. You can find where to order organ capsules. So if you go to Higher Healths, Google that. Another thing recently that I was reading, we need to talk about interprovincial trading. So I know that your beef boxes are only able to be shipped in Alberta, and that's something that needs to be, we need to fight back on that, because Canadians, all provinces probably would love to get their hands on some of your products. So that's something that is a topic of discussion. So thank you guys for listening today. If you could head over to Apple or Spotify, leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review, guys. If you're interested in what Winnie and I do, you can head over to our website, rancherway.com. That's where you can pick up this book. If the book resonates with you, then we meet with you. So thank you guys for being here, and we look forward to the next episode.
So glad you leaned in with us on the WinEH podcast. We truly hope you're feeling more informed and empowered to take another step towards optimizing your financial life. Right now, make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep growing and learning with us. Until next time, we wish you prosperity in every area of your life.